Hey everyone, this is Daniel Bloodworth. I'm kind of the racing guy here at GT, and this week I was able to get some hands-on time with Need for Speed Rivals. It was about 3.5 hours I got to play on PS4 build, and basically I just want to, kind of give you guys an overview of the game and explain how it's set up and how it works. It's kind of like an open-world Need for Speed / Mario Kart experience, and I say Mario Kart just because 2010's Hot Pursuit, there's a lot more weapons in this game. But the idea is that you can play as either a cop or a racer, and each one of them has a separate career path that you can go down. And you're in this open world, but at the same time, they have this functionality, what they call all drive, where you're not just racing alone. There's not a division between single player and multiplayer. Everyone is kind of together, and you're sort of grouped into a session with other people, and there'll be people driving around the map, and so you'll be trying to do your objectives, they'll be trying to do their objectives, and because some of you are cops and some of you are racers, sometimes you're going to cross paths, and if you cross paths with a cop, they're going to want to bust you, and if you cross paths and you're a racer, and you cross paths with another racer, then you're going to have an opportunity to drive up behind them and challenge them to a race. The world seems to be like it's completely open right from the start. You can run around and find all kinds of different events. You can find jumps. You can challenge AI cars or antagonize AI cops and things like that. A lot of the map really does look like Need for Speed Hot Pursuit in terms of there being like a redwood city and then like a big open desert and mountains and things like that with snow. The way the game's set up is that if you're a racer, you have a hideout, and if you're a cop, you have a command center. They're both essentially your garage. And when you're in the garage, you'll choose between one of 3 speed lists, and these speed lists are your group of objectives. So rather than your progression being defined by doing these set specific races, a speed list will say, okay, go out there and smash 5 guys and get a bronze in a certain race or a certain type of event, like a Hot Pursuit or an Interceptor event or something like that. And you'll go out there and you'll do those objectives, and then you'll come back to your hideout. Well, if you're a racer, while you're doing your objectives and you're doing these events and things like that, and you're just whatever you're doing out in the world, that time that you're spending out there is building into a score, and you have a multiplier that builds up. And the more and more time you're out there, the higher your score is. But if you get busted, that cop that busts you takes your entire score away from you. So there's this risk-reward mechanic in there where you want to stay out longer because you want a higher score and you want to just keep building your multiplier and getting up there. But the longer you stay out there, the higher risk you have, because your heat level from the cops is probably going to rise as well. And there's going to be more incentive for people to come after you and bust you. On the cop side, then you're looking for other players to bust, because they're going to have a much higher take than you would get from an AI car, which might have AI car might have 2,000 or 4,000 points, something like that. Whereas a racer, you can build up to 110,000 points or so pretty easily. Okay, so what do you do with that score? So that score is basically like your cash reserve, right? So when you get back to your hideout and you bank your score, then what you can do is you can use that to buy new cars that you've unlocked, and buy weapons and buy upgrades and that sort of thing. The cars come in essentially as you do these speed lists and you complete your objectives, then you unlock more and more stuff, and so you can then buy those things with speed points. The one thing that has kind of bothered me a little bit so far is that for every car you have to buy your weapons for that car. So it's not like you just buy your car and you buy your weapons. Every time you get a new car, you have to buy your weapons again. The weapons are kind of interesting the way that they're set up, because rather than everyone having a set amount of weapons, you have 2 slots to stick weapons in. And so I saw there's kind of like what they call a ESF, which is electric shock field, which kind of makes you electrocuted. So if anyone tries to ram into you, then they're gonna get hit. There are mines that you can drop behind you. There's a shockwave that will like blast people to the side, and then cops have like spike strips and things like that. I had this great moment where one of my speedless objectives was to rack a cop. And I thought this is great because I was in a session where I had been playing as a racer, but most of the other people for some reason were just kind of sticking to the cop career path. And there's a guy I had been hanging out with because we were on the same flight that day from EGM, and I saw that he was right next to me and he was playing as a cop, and like this is perfect. And I had just upgraded my weapons, and so I went and I targeted this guy, and his instinct as a cop is to try to bust me, but my goal right now is to take him down. So he'd come after me, and I'd throw one weapon after another at him. And then I found out later that he had actually just bought a new car, so he didn't have any weapons with that car. So maybe that actually does work out in your favor. To kind of, you don't know what to expect with somebody else. It's like, okay, you might have this great car, but you spend all your money on that car, so you don't have any weapons for it. And now they might not have so good a car, but they're just tearing you up. There's one more aspect to this that I almost forgot about, and that's called Overwatch. Basically, they've designed a second screen experience, so you can go into the Need for Speed Network app, and you can see your profile and things like that. But what you can also do is you can kind of look at what other players are doing on the map, and you can kind of boost them up or put obstacles in their way and that kind of thing. I had a couple of moments where I was driving down the road, and I had been hit by the cops a few times, and then somebody on Overwatch had repaired my car or given me some more ammo or things like that. Or no, I think they refill my nitrous. So that's an interesting little twist to it. You can turn off Overwatch if it's not something that interests you. But it kind of adds to this whole sense of being in this kind of vast open world with other players while you're doing your own thing at the same time. So I asked for some questions last week to see what some of you guys are interested in. Paul Meekin on Facebook was asking about destruction physics, and unfortunately, I think it's just it's a consequence of licensed cars that they're the wrecks in Rivals are not really on a better level than Most Wanted or Hot Pursuit. They're just they're not crumpling like a Burnout game. You're not seeing cars getting twisted in half and ripped apart or anything like that. I will say that you will notice probably a lot more environmental destruction in terms of like smashing through fences and buildings and cafes and things like that. Somebody else asked about the driving physics and how easy it is to drift and things like that. That's Jordan Vanderpool. And still early for me. I'd say it's maybe not super easy to drift and get around high-speed corners. I always feel like it takes a little bit of time to get the drifting down. But yeah, it's still a Need for Speed game. It's not super difficult to get around, but also you don't just like tap a button and start drifting. It takes a little bit of work to figure out how you're gonna drift with specific cars. And then Jason Vancina asks if it's any good for PS4 because he wants to get it at launch. And so far, all I've played is PS4, and yeah, I'd say it's if you're just looking to get a driving game of any kind, I think it's worth picking up. It's probably going to be one of the better driving games of this year. So anyways, that's about all I've got to say for now. Keep an eye out for the review. I'm hoping to get it up on Friday, since that's what it comes out for the PS4 launch. And it will just really be a matter of playing a lot of the game. Let me know if you have any additional thoughts, and thanks for listening.
You want to know why I do this?